Three, two, one, and we should be live because my camera is now wonky. Uh,
That's the telltale sign.
that is the telltale side. Welcome to the Beerumverate. I am the Barkoff, and I am joined by Mr. McWomble. How are you doing this evening,
Hello.
sir?
Well, it's 20 to 9 in the morning, and I'm fucking tired.
That's not too early, man. Come on. And
Yeah,
joining us again, the stand user, Evan.
he's back.
You've been away for a while. How are you doing?
One time I can get in the next couple weekends I'm going to be busy because I'm moving yet again, so get in where I can.
Yeah, well, you've done some interesting stuff when you've been away.
Yeah.
I mean, that failed one-man Yakuza series stage show that you tried to get off the ground, that was pretty good. Ran into some technical difficulties, I heard, like...
Yeah, I kind of liken myself to, like, Michael Jordan trying out baseball. You know, sometimes it just doesn't work, no matter how good you are at other things. So I almost started this episode wearing my Teddy Ruxpin thing open.
Oh my god. I almost forgot about that.
That's as close as I have to, like, a rattlesnake, like, colored long sleeve shirt or jacket, and just like no shirt and just the Teddy Ruxpin open, and I have some like black like leotard-esque. They call it heat tech in Japan. You wear it under your jeans. What do they call those things? Long johns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost did that, but like come in like a risky business. My phone's pretty slippery. But I stayed out till 3 a.m. Drinking, so I'm too hungover to fucking do that.
Fair enough. Keith, you want to give us the rundown, the intro, the disclaimer?
Yeah, let's see if I can actually do this or ruin it like I've done the last few times. Right, so we are the Beerumverate. We are three guys plus assorted other people, as and when people can come on, and Evan's not around doing kind of leotarding or whatever he just said.
I took taking trips to Singapore, bringing along my spray paint, that type of thing.
Yeah. So we are not here to promote drinking. Please drink responsibly, unless you stay out until 3 a.m. drinking with friends. But don't do that every day.
Don't do that.
It's a weekend activity.
I wish I wouldn't have done that.
Any beers or breweries we talk about, they're not paying us. And if they fancy doing so, thank you very much. And that's about it. We talk about video games. Yes, yeah. Okay, I've totally butchered this one. Oh dear.
It's
fine.
I think it turned out. It
You
turned
got
out
through
good.
it.
Yeah. So do we want to mention any beers? Keith, you did a Twitter post.
Yeah, yesterday. So last time we were on, I had that Bavarian brewery did an American style IPA, which was very, very good. Did a quick review of that, but I realised that they also do a black lager.
Yeah, the new something.
New black lager.
Right.
New as in NU. And that was also very, very good. And it's like the bitterest lager that I've ever had. So it was very heavy, but because it's lagered, so it's heavy tasting, but not heavy on your mouthfeel. So it's not like you're drinking a really heavy brown ale.
Okay.
But it was
Is it like roasty, creamy? Any of those?
Because it's kind of the style of the cans they use. They don't actually explain anything.
Right.
It's just Bavarian black lager. Deal with it.
Which I like. I think that's a genius idea.
Is it one of those you had the 3 cans lined up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the simplicity of the label. It stands out.
It's
very
very bootleg.
Overly designed ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think they've got 4. They've got a Sunday Sunday IPA, a Friday night IPA, the black lager, and then just lager. And so I've tried all 4 now, and all 4 are distinctly different and all distinctly good.
Well, that's cool.
They're quite expensive though.
What are you looking at for a can?
So what was it, 2? Because we've got minimum unit pricing here now. So the higher ABV ones are $2.50 a can.
Jesus.
And the lower ABV ones are $2.20.
That's not bad for, at least for Japan.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad for the US. That's like $4 to $5 a can here.
Yeah. So So $2.50 would be about $4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, never mind. Yeah, 4 is a bit much. I was thinking of dollars, like you live in the States or something. So.
No, I haven't won the lottery. If I did, would I live in the States? Probably not all year round.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Fucking like if we won the lottery. I can see it on everyone's face. We're totally fucking thinking it.
Yeah. Evan, what do you got going on? You stopped by 7-Eleven today?
Yeah. I just picked up a couple cans. I got quickly. This is like the cheap stuff. This is Sapporo Mugi to Hop, which means barley and hops.
Right.
Apparently, it's simple and quality. Strange. It's 6%, but I bet you anything. It just it tastes like your basic Pilsner lager, which most Japanese beers do.
Still
Simple
pretty good
and
though.
Quality could describe this show.
Yeah. There you go. Then I got Kirin Ichiban Shibori. This is a limited brew, which is also 6%. I don't know what these 6% beers, but it's just a 6% take on their flagship Ichiban Shibori brand. And then I have, for relaxing times,
Suntory.
Sunio Aroma. So I'm gonna try this one first. I had it once, but I forgot what it tastes like.
All right.
But yeah, going pretty easy today. 5.5%.
I've got into the habit now of putting not kind of standard lagers into glass, but nicer stuff that I buy. I always pour it into glasses now. And I was watching some food program, and they were talking about people don't take beer seriously because they see people drinking it out of cans and bottles rather than pouring it into a glass.
Right.
And they were trying to come up with ways to get wine drinkers to think differently about beer. And automatically, for a wine drinker, as soon as you pour something into a glass, they think differently about it because you wouldn't drink wine out of a bottle.
True. Yeah. No, yeah, I got a set of glasses from a good friend of mine for a wedding present. And
that wasn't a hint, by the way, Evan.
What?
I was, as you were
he just grabbed the glass.
You were saying that, I was already going to get it. Yeah, there's like lipstick or something on here.
That's from the stage show.
All right. I'll get into the one beer that I have tonight. I have a Tenaya Creek Bonanza Brown. I think my camera's backwards.
When I saw that, the bird on this reminded me of that new game that's out. Is it Falcon something?
Oh, yeah, I've seen it on Sifted.
Yeah, the art style is very similar.
I love all their cans look like this. So all the beer that they do has this similar art style. This is typical brown ale. It tastes a bit like Newcastle with just a little bit heavier malt.
That's already sounds better than Newcastle. I used to drink Newcastle a lot, but after going more heavy with the stuff that I drink, I went back to it, and it it's a bit light on flavor, I think.
It's it's got light mouthfeel. It's I don't know. It's still really good beer though.
I have one every now and then.
Yeah.
I went to
I would say
university there, so I don't have to.
But yeah, so this is 5.6. It's pretty standard for out here. Reason I got it, it's local, and the local liquor store chain here, you can do a case builder, and they have a different varieties of local beers, and it works out to be $26 after tax for a case, so it's about $1 a beer. And
That's
just
crazy.
Yeah, just can't go wrong.
I'm so jealous at those prices. There's no way that would ever happen in Japan.
So how many is that? 6 or 8?
A case is 24.
24. Okay, that's a hell of a lot. And for you to be able to pick what you want to go into it.
Well, yeah. So there's 6-packs. So you can
Yeah.
you get 4 6-packs basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not you're not wandering around picking individual cans.
No. But yeah. So what is that in?
A lot of places do that though. You can build your own.
Yeah, there's a few places out here that do like build your own 6-pack, where you can build 6 individual beers. But yeah, for a case builder, I don't know that I could pick 24 individual beers. I'm sure I could, but it would just take me forever.
You'd have to start with the first one, and then by the time you got to 24, you're picking it. So you're just paying for empties.
Right. Yeah. So, anyway, should we get into the main topic?
Oh, do you want to do your rumor first?
Oh, yeah, that's right. So I was out to lunch for a business luncheon. And just so happens that behind me, I hear this guy talking. And I said, that guy sounds really familiar. I've heard his voice before. So I kind of cock my head, try not to be too nosy. And it's Chris Avalon. And he's talking about the new Star Wars game. And I said, oh, shit. The Obsidian craft writer is now working on the Fallen Order. So that's the rumor that I've heard.
Wait, you're serious, right?
No, I'm not. This is.
You're not lying?
I'm making this shit up, dude. That's the whole point of the rumor mill. Did you not watch that episode?
Oh, is it? I just remember you said something about Skyrim being in Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy being in Skyrim, and Mitch and Keith didn't react to it at all. They were just like, oh,
just like you guys did right now.
like, why?
with Chris Avalon writing Fallen Order, it's like.
I don't even know who that guy is. So.
So Chris Avalon's famous for his work on Alpha Protocol, which I've brought up on here and Podcast Reload.
Did he write Colony Wars as well?
No, he didn't write Colony Wars.
Okay.
But so Alpha Protocol, Fallout New Vegas.
Okay.
I think
it's a
that
good game.
I'll have to pull up his Wikipedia page or something, but really famous game writer, and
so famous that Evan and I have never heard of him.
Well,
Matt's up on his writers, especially in the games world. You've mentioned a couple names in the past. I was like, I don't know who that is, but
anyway.
All right, Chris Avalon.
Yeah.
We're just the filthy casuals.
So who wants to start with the main topic? Getting into favorite.
I think we should introduce it first to let people know rather than just start talking.
All right, so we're gonna do favorite Star Wars games of all time.
I think there could be some disagreement in here.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I think Evan's going to say something stupid.
They're personal
I'm
favorites.
fucking out of it. I just typed in Nintendo. I'm like, what am I even looking for? Sorry.
There was
Sorry.
Super Star Wars for the Super
Yes.
Nintendo, which is pretty badass.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the one Evan's thinking of potentially. You're thinking of one that came out on the N64, maybe.
Wait, how did you know? How did you know I was going to bring that up?
Oh, you're talking about Shadows of the
How did you know
Empire.
Yeah,
How did you know that I was going to say that?
because you mentioned it in the past.
Have I?
Yeah, because unlike you, I actually remember stuff that we've spoken about. This is
Right.
kind of
Okay.
you just. I don't know if it's once we stop speaking, you just go and have a shower, and the entire conversation history just washes away from you.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
This is like get the stink off. I've been talking to Keith again. I need to go and have a wash.
Yeah. All right. So, Star Wars games.
Classic N64 titles. Shadows of the Empire. Probably most well known for the story, not so much the controls or gameplay.
Yeah,
Right?
especially that speeder bike section thing.
God, it's been so long. I don't even remember, to be honest with you.
Imagine kind of Star Wars Battletoads speeder section. It's not quite as brutal as Battletoads, but the controls were so bad. You're trying to dodge stuff, and it was just a pain in the ass.
I seem to remember like a train section. Is that something that happened?
That's the second level where at the end of the train section you fight IG-88.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fucking hard. That game is so hard. But when I was a kid, I played it so much that I just got insanely good at it. And even that speeder section, because you have to, it had like the rebel icons that you had to collect in each level.
Yeah.
So there's actually sections of the speeder bike. I think it was on Tatooine. To stop and like go off and then get back on track. It's so strange when you go back to these games and they just play like utter garbage, but you remember them playing like the controls being fine. Like
Particularly with the N64 controller as well.
Right.
Right, yeah, that thing is terrible. That analog stick is horrendous, but back in the day, it's pretty much all I knew. I remember just really liking that speeder section, even though like if any part of your speeder bike like hit a pixel of something else, your speeder bike would just come to a screeching halt, just like you just get stuck on the geometry. And dash render wouldn't react to it, and I don't think you took damage from it. You just like hit it, and then everything. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, you just stopped.
Yep, you just stopped. Yeah, there was no. It would be like if you hit an enemy and he died, but he didn't react to your punch. It just there was something that was. I don't know. It didn't feel good. Looking back on it, at the time, like I absolutely loved that game, and I would just play sections of it over and over and over, and it's probably actually my favorite Star Wars game.
Really?
I'm actually being dead serious. That's the game I was going to bring up as my favorite Star Wars game is Shadows of the Empire, only because I haven't played many Star Wars games. Super Star Wars is awesome, but I just remember I never got far in that game. Games.
Yeah, all the Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, and Super Return of the Jedi were all just like ridiculously hard.
Yeah, it's that old school type of game where enemies just don't stop bothering you.
Right.
They're, like flying on screen all the time. It's like they cut out half of those enemies. They don't need to be there. Yeah. That's the only reason I have fond memories of it, but I just never got far. And it was like, brutal old school difficulty where when your lives run out, that's it. You're brown bread. You got to start from the beginning.
Yep.
So, yeah. Yeah, you guys are going to have to clue me in on some of these Star Wars games because I haven't played a lot of them. So.
Okay.
Matt, do you want to do?
Yeah.
Do you want to do your classic first? We've got two classics, really.
Yeah. Star Wars TIE Fighter.
Why TIE Fighter and not Rogue Squadron?
So I've always been an Empire guy. I've always had an affinity for that aesthetic and the feel. I always felt like maybe they were right and the rebels were wrong. Like we were getting told the wrong side of the story. So, but no, like specifically with TIE Fighter, like it was just an amazing space sim game. And then when you get inducted into the Emperor's secret guard, I can't remember what it's called, but you get these like certain missions that you complete. You get these like blue purple tattoos on your arm, and you like collect the tattoos as you go through. Just super fun memories playing that, and getting to utilize all the different, like the TIE fighter itself. You had the TIE interceptor, you had the TIE bomber, you had like all these different ships that were never really explained in any of the movies, but here in the game, it's sort of expanding on that lore. So that's why I liked it. I thought it was, it was an interesting take on the Star Wars universe that when it came out, we didn't really have any exposure from that side before.
Is that game heavy on story?
In the mission briefings.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, and it has been a long time since I've played it, so I don't know that I could go back and tell you like what specifically was happening. If I'm not mistaken, it takes place between Empire and Jedi, but I'd have to look it up. I don't really remember.
Yeah, I always thought that one thing about, I'm going to mention Rogue Squadron, but not as kind of one of my favourites. But I did like the odd bits because where you had the kind of FMV sections before the gameplay,
right?
And you had Mark Hamill, who could be playing Luke Skywalker or another character from the Star Wars universe played by Mark Hamill. Right. And sometimes you didn't. Is he dressed in black? He's dressed in black. He's Luke Skywalker. Is he dressed in kind of military camo gear? Then he's playing some other character.
Are you serious?
Let's see.
Yeah, independent, because there was, how many Rogue Squadron games were there? Was it a few?
Yeah, there was 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of the one specifically for the Nintendo 64, or was it GameCube?
No, it was GameCube, but I think there was one I played on PC where there's a character with a massive lion head that we've never seen again in the Star Wars universe.
Interesting.
But yeah, it was just interesting. Sometimes it's like, right, okay, Mark Hamill's in this one, but is he playing Luke Skywalker? No, he's playing some other random character, and we just ignore the fact that he's ever played Luke Skywalker.
It's like, it's Mark Hamill. Like, get someone else to do it.
Yeah.
He needed the paycheck, maybe?
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He was in Star Wars.
Right, so I said before the show, because I've been really organised again, and Evan's just been Evan, and so he's definitely not been organised. I was going to X-wing it. Right, definitely one of my favourite games ever, and my favourite Star Wars game. Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I think we talked about
we
it with Shanghai Dan.
Yeah, that's just the story is absolutely brilliant. Is proper Star Wars. It's not canonical anymore because Disney killed off Kyle Katarn.
You could have just left it because Disney.
Yeah, because Disney.
Because Disney.
Yeah, they needed to change how the Rebel Alliance got the plans for the Death Star, which was actually from Kyle Katarn, who was a Imperial officer who stole the plans and gave them to the Rebel Alliance. And he got 2 video games out of that, and they're both great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about Dark Forces 2, it had a morality meter, but not in a kind of really annoying sense. So not in a kind of Red Dead Redemption 2, if you're getting shot at by people and you go and loot them afterwards, suddenly your morality meter drops because it didn't drop when you killed them, it dropped when you take their stuff. I mean, what the fuck is that about? But yeah, so you had a kind of light side, dark side thing. So depending on choices that you made, you could align yourself with different sides of the Force, and that got you different Force powers.
Right.
So there is a binary point in the game where you fight a character and you can choose to spare him or you choose to kill him. And at that point, your Force affinity is set from that point on. So if you want to put, as you level up, you can choose to put points into your different Force powers. And if you put more points into your dark side powers, and then I think it's the case anyway, and then you make a choice to spare this guy, well, why would you? But if you did, you lose access to those powers.
Okay.
Because you've chosen to go against what you decided. But then you can't actually reallocate those points, so it makes the last part of the game pretty tough. I did it the other way round, where I was putting points into the light side powers because some of those are quite good. But Force choke in that game is so much fun.
I was going to say, let me guess that the dark side powers are always, like, they're way more fun than the light side powers. That's how that stuff always works.
Yeah. It's just seeing, because it was the first, and then it was the first time that you kind of pick up a stormtrooper and just watch their legs dangle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I actually,
so much fun.
I just rewatched the Darth Vader scene from Rogue One. No, not Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One.
Right.
Rogue One. Good scene. Yeah.
No,
Sorry, Matt, you were gonna say something.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I feel like the dark side powers are always the coolest, especially in video games, because the light side powers are usually like
protection.
Yeah, protection or heal or like no, I wanna shoot some lightning at some dudes and like that would
Yeah, what's the nicer version of like Force choke? Just like tickle their throat.
Yeah, no, there is
very
none.
irritating.
Give someone a slight cough.
Yeah. He can't give the order. Sir, you have to give me the order to fire. I just checked. I do remember seeing this box art before. I'm guessing that.
Yeah, no.
Bald guy with the tattoos is the main villain.
Oh yeah, what gave that away?
Yeah.
Usually you don't have the main villain on the cover of the game, no?
Yeah, there's some quality overacting in the FMV scenes as well. It's weird. Yeah. Some
like
really
Adam
good
Jensen.
boss fights. Yeah, it's got some really good boss fights in it as well. So there's regular boss fights with these kind of Sith disciples.
Right.
And all of them are memorable for different reasons. So as part of it, you can choose. There's one who you can choose to save from the dark side. There's one who is just a really annoying character who kind of bounces around and has two lightsabers. It's just fucking pain in the ass, but I think that's a limitation of the tech at the time. But I bought it on GOG for £1.69. So I'm going to enjoy replaying through that at some point.
I actually just picked up. I had to check my Steam list because. So I picked up Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast, which is actually the third one in the series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that one for like $2 or something. Just recently bought it, so I'm looking to jump into that. Might be some fun.
Yeah, and the other one in that series is also very good, which is one of my I wouldn't say a favourite out of all games, but Star Wars games, Jedi Academy.
Oh yeah, that was the.
Where you get to choose your own character in that one.
Right.
So you can choose from the different races, and you get to choose what lightsaber combat you want to have. So you can have dual-handed or double-handed or just a single-handed lightsaber.
Well, that was right after the. When did the episode 1 come out? Do you guys remember?
20 years ago.
97 was it, or 99?
No, it was 20 years ago.
So it's 99, yeah. That was around that same time, right?
Yeah.
Or like right after.
Yeah, and that's again got a good story to go through about people who they're looking for a Sith relic and someone's found it, and they're using it to give other people force powers who shouldn't necessarily have them.
I
and Luke Skywalker.
I vaguely remember this, and I remember the first couple levels. One is like a crash landed ship, and you're in a desert. That's like the first level.
And there's some big space worm thing.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
So you can choose which one of 4 levels to go for first, and you kind of upgrade points. I don't know if we just bored Evan or his computer froze when he had his eyes closed.
No, I don't. I've never even heard of this game.
It's good fun. The controls are so much better than the earlier games, and you can do some crazy backflipping, lightsaber swinging, running off walls type stuff.
Yeah, it's third person. It was built in the Quake 3 engine. So
and yet again, there's a choice at the end. Do you want to kind of steal the Sith power field, or do you want to destroy it? And then you get a different ending depending on which choice you make.
Right.
And I think they were setting it up for a final game, because if you choose the Sith ending, Luke Skywalker and Kyle Katarn basically say, we need to go after this person.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
And stop them. But they never commissioned the last game.
But that's a good segue into my other pick, which is Knights of the Old Republic, where if you play through it and you get the canonical ending of the game, you get you are Revan, you are the Sith Lord.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a following, it sort of follows that game. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's something about Obsidian games in that era. They're just, I love them. And
yeah, I really like 2, but you can tell that they ended up having to make that game in double quick time, because the ending is a bit shit.
Yeah, but it's only like the last 2 hours at most of the game. Like the other 30 hours that you play are very well crafted. And it's really only like, okay, so you get to the last planet, which is Star Wars geeks are gonna fucking hate me right now. I can't think of the name of the planet.
Well, they can hate me as well, because I can't remember either. But it's the one you go into the kind of temple, and it's got the like the tooth-like statues.
Yeah, it's all black and lava-y, and so you go through the caverns, and then you make your way to the Sith temple. It's gonna come to me eventually, because they bring it up in the Old Republic as well. It's one of the first planets you visit if you choose the Sith path. But yeah, I mean, with the exception of some empty rooms, like I feel like they did a pretty damn good job of finishing it up. And because I didn't know that it wasn't finished until after I had already beaten the game. And when I was, made aware that they hadn't actually finished the game, they just kind of hurried up and made a few events to like close out everything.
Yeah,
they did a pretty decent job with it, I think.
The ship in that game is really cool, the Ebon Hawk.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm a bit disappointed that Disney kind of killed off all of the expanded universe, because they should have had that in Battlefront 2. They should have some of the wider set of characters.
Or like a wink and a nod to
to some of the other stuff that's come before. Maybe
not a bad idea.
Kind of going slightly more modern. Did you guys see the interview with Stig Asmussen? I think it was Stig, where he said that Jedi Fallen Order is going to be a single-player game with no microtransactions and no multiplayer.
Yes.
It's music to my ears.
Well, it's kind of
Especially me. It's like, it's all I want. Just give me single player story, decent length. Like,
Yeah,
how long do you think
doesn't-
this game's gonna be?
10, 15 hours.
Yeah, I'd say 15 to 20.
Because they like like I've said before, Respawn seem to be getting a pass on quite a lot of the EA bullshit that's kind of contributed to the downfall of BioWare as much as they've contributed to it themselves. So EA mandated that all games have to be multiplayer. This hasn't got multiplayer. EA have recently kind of moved to everything's got to be a game as a service with microtransactions or season passes or something.
Yeah,
this hasn't got it.
I have to think that Vince Zampella definitely has something to do with that because.
Well, I think he's got some dirt on Andrew Wilson. He's got some incriminating photographs.
I don't think
he's
there's
actually an android, and Vince has got the photographs of him plugging into the Matrix.
No, I don't think it's anything that sinister. I just think that with Vince Zampella's history in the games industry, I think when he signed the deal with EA, coming from Activision and that huge lawsuit that they went through, I think that he must have had his lawyers on retainer to be like, okay, if you ever sign another deal, we're going to review the terms and make sure that you get what you want out of this. And
yeah, because and again, one more Frostbite. Respawn aren't using Frostbite.
Right, exactly. So like, it's got to be in the terms of the agreement for EA purchasing Respawn, and I don't know. It's probably just them getting a larger residual, and in return, Zampella gets sort of carte blanche. Can do whatever the hell he wants with his studio because they know that he's going to make them a ton of money. So, what does it really matter?
Well, it seemed to matter previously. So why has it changed now? I don't know if kind of Disney behind the scenes have got more involved since Battlefront 2 fiasco. And said,
well, yeah, that might be a possibility because they did shut down the what's that bounty hunter game that they just canned? 1313 or whatever.
Star Wars 1313.
Yeah,
there was a Star Wars bounty hunter game.
It's supposed to be about Boba Fett, wasn't it?
He was going to be in it, but I don't think it was about him.
Okay.
Yeah, that looked very like, let's do the Uncharted series, but in the Star Wars universe.
Right, and they just shit can that. Like that idea is no good.
I was totally fine with that concept. Yeah. But here's my thing about this new game. It's being made by Respawn, and the only things they've made are really overrated games, like Titanfall, and that one game that Apex Legends that I'm not interested in. So, no, all joking aside, we got wasn't there like a poster leaked of this game as well?
It's like
so it shows it. Yeah, it's like a Jedi with his lightsaber out. Is this because they're good at first-person shooters? So how is that going to work? Like, is this a third-person?
We don't know.
We don't know, right?
Anything. All we know is going to be single player, and there's no microtransactions and no multiplayer.
Like, I'm not a big fan of like first-person melee combat. It just never works very well.
Well,
because of the cameras.
Hashtag Skyrim.
Did you play Shadow Warrior at all? The new one?
That's that really crazy game with like you can dual wield weapons but you also have like a massive sword, like a katana.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Does that game play well? Like, it's serviceable?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, first person melee is very serviceable in that game.
Okay, so it's an option.
And then obviously as Keith mentioned, Skyrim. That's first person.
I've never played Skyrim. Is that bad?
Boring load of shit. Sorry for all the Skyrim fans out there.
No,
I played it for about 10 hours and then got really bored.
What? God, you guys don't.
It's
You
one of
guys
those
don't
things.
read story in games, do
Matt,
you?
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to go into break into someone's house to read their library.
You don't have to. They'll
Ouch.
let you in as long as you talk to them.
No, the thing is with KOTOR and Skyrim, I didn't play them when they came out, so like that whole chunk of video game history completely passed me by,
Right.
and
It's
it's just
dead to you.
I'm not going back. I'm not going back. It's done. It's past.
Yeah, I mean,
I know it's kind of like ported every possible thing, including Final Fantasy VII, but I think I'm not. I'll wait for. But did we finish the Star Wars game? We have one more key.
I could, but I'm not going to.
what?
Okay.
I don't have the Google Doc open. I don't know what you're talking about. What game are you skipping at
Well,
least?
I didn't put it in.
Oh, all right, okay.
I haven't written anything in the Google Docs. So it doesn't matter if you got it open or not.
That's why I closed it, because you guys didn't bother to add anything.
Yeah.
I already knew what I was going to talk about. I was going to drop Shadows of the Empire at the end of this conversation, and Keith fucking figured it out because he pays attention. But he apparently is a good listener, and I think that's what friends are supposed to do. I don't know if I'm not holding up my end of the bargain on that in that regard. But okay, I want to come quickly back around to Shadows of the Empire. I'm assuming we've all played it.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Do you remember the Battle of Hoth? That was like
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Super Mario 64. Like, oh, this is how platforming works in the 3D space. For me, because I wasn't a PC gamer, I jumped from the Super Nintendo to the N64, and so being able to navigate in a 3D space and redo the Battle of Hoth, and not only that, but to be able to basically reenact what the I don't know what the names of the ships are.
The A-Wings?
The A-Wings?
No,
To
they're
reenact
not. They're
them
not.
taking down
Snow
I don't remember
speeders.
the name, but snow speeders. Okay.
Are they snow
Probably
speeders?
right.
Yeah. Got a bunch of
Yeah,
got a bunch of Star
They're
Trek
not-
fans.
It can't be an A-wing because A-wings can fly in space and these things can't.
Got a bunch of Star Trek fans talking about Star Wars. That's bound to piss somebody off.
Yeah. I'm
Hashtag
I
time
like
crystals.
Star Wars. Yeah, I like Star Wars, but I was a huge Star Wars fan when I was a kid, but I cooled off on it in my. I don't know. Like the movies are good, and I always go see them first day, but I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, and you guys know I'm not a Star Trek.
Right.
I think the internet.
Being able to go
I don't
around
know
the
if it's just
88
my connection, but the internet just trolled Evan by saying I'm not a huge yet.
And I'm
Shut it down.
I'm gonna desperately try to ignore the time crystals comment. We're gonna have to talk about that off air because yeah.
Jesus.
I don't know what's going
Yeah, so
I don't know what's going on
not
right
technically a video game, but did either of you guys play in the quite possibly what could have been the size of someone's living room, the Star Wars arcade cabinet?
Yes, I played that at a movie theater before. Is that the one where you can choose like 3 things to do, and one of is like a first-person lightsaber battle with?
Yeah, and then one's the attack on Hoth, and I can't remember
That thing was as big as a fucking house.
Yeah,
holy
but
shit!
It was, either way, you got in, you sat down, and you had the joystick in front of you. It was that was really cool.
It was totally gimmicky, but it worked for what it was trying to do. I wonder how much that thing cost, because like movie theaters had to like chuck out like three arcades in their arcade space just to make room for that.
I'm gonna have to look and see if I can find one of those at a local arcade here, because I don't think I've played that. I've played the newer one where it's like ship battles, but it's the cockpit like rotates.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I've done that.
I've not played that.
I've done that
It's too
one.
advanced for being here.
It's very arcadey. It's very arcadey.
Yeah, I'm not sure they would have that in Japan. By the way, you guys got to come to Japan and go to an arcade. It's like you're entering outer space. It's so different. But that's another story.
You get served
Yeah,
by robot waiters and waitresses. And...
well, you'll have to visit to find out. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. In terms of these Star Wars games, I was a kid, so I'm not I don't really know how these games passed me by. I don't know. I must have been like dreaming of one day playing the Yakuza series, and oh wait, I'm not allowed to talk. I'm not allowed to talk about it. I don't know what I was playing.
It's all right.
Listening to some of the games, they sound pretty cool, especially KOTOR. Like, I wish I was there for that game when it came out. But just yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like they were primarily PC games. Most of the stuff we talked about, other than Shadows of the Empire.
Right,
so.
Yeah, or you can play them on the original Xbox, which you've never owned.
Right.
I've never owned. Dude, I was playing Chrono Cross on my PlayStation 2 in like 2010. Like I didn't get a PS3 until 2012.
Yeah, I didn't get a PS. I didn't get a PS3 until 11. Like right before,
really?
that. That was why I bought a PS3. Was because it was cheaper than upgrading my PC to play Skyrim. So.
You know what? We're gonna have to come up with a ban on specific games here. If I'm getting fucking cheated out of talking about one of the greatest series in the history of video games,
you know,
guys
cheated out of talking about it because we bring it up all the fucking time.
No, jokingly. When Judge Eyes comes to have a special Judge Eyes breakdown, you guys better play that game too. Or I'm not coming on the show.
Dude, I've seen Yakuza. I've seen the Yakuza games on sale on PSN, but they get down to about $15. It's not quite enough for me to actually buy one. If they got down to 10, if they got down to 10 or less, I would totally buy one and play it.
I don't see that ever happening.
Yeah, because it's all controlled by a bunch of gangsters.
Yep.
It will not discount our games by that much. We'll send the boys around and kneecap you.
All right, so we get into the next topic, guys.
Yeah, let's plow along here.
All right.
Plow ahead.
Keith, I'll let you introduce it.
Yes. So, in light of the next Watch Dogs game being set in London, I thought I'd talk about some of the potential cliche things that could happen there. And
I want to hear this.
So I watched 3 films last weekend, and in every single one of them, the British actor was the bad guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Was it Mark? Was Mark Strong one?
No.
Okay.
Jude Law, Idris Elba, and oh Christ, what was the last one? It was so memorable. I can't even remember what film I've watched. Doesn't matter. But it's just one of these cliche things. If I can watch an American movie, it's like, oh, even if someone's putting on a decent American accent, is it? Well, that guy's English. He's the bad guy. So I'm hoping that with Watch Dogs 3 being set in London, the bad guys are all going to be stereotypical Americans.
That would be cool, actually.
And
turn it on its head.
Yeah, and everyone who's going to be in that game isn't speaking in the Queen's English. There's going to be some different accents. There's going to be a diverse cast of characters reflecting the diversity of London. And I don't know, there's going to be traffic wardens and the police officers aren't going to all talk. All white. You know
Watch
what
out,
you
this
did.
gang!
You are nicked, son. Hello, hello, hello.
Oi,
Fuck off,
governor.
fuck off. Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine they're trying to get it as close as possible to reality, but then again, you'll get like actors that aren't Irish or Scottish. They're like American actors trying to do Irish or Scottish accents, and it's like totally, of course, like for maybe to the American ear, it's passable, but it's a shit accent. So like, why don't you employ someone who actually that's their native accent?
Yeah, and if there is an Irish character in it, they're not going to be an alcoholic.
And in Red Dead Redemption as well, it's like
Yeah.
2. Like that's the second game where the Irish guy was like some
Raging alcoholic. Yeah.
I beg to differ. I think, yeah.
Like they doubled down on it.
I don't know.
No, is there, anyone got any? Oh yeah, another cliche. So I can't remember who the developer studio of that is. You know, bikini volleyball game. They're just going to make a normal volleyball game.
Koi Tecmo.
There's not going to be. You know, was it Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball?
Yeah.
That is actually a solid volleyball game. I played the first one a lot.
I'm sure you did. They're just going to make.
I play Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball for the volleyball, and the art. Right? That's how these things work.
Yeah.
Shane has the same defense. Just for the record.
Oh, did he say that?
Oh yeah, he's talked about that game multiple times. Yeah. He's like, "There's no volleyball games. What game do I recommend?" Well, it's got to be Dead or Alive.
Anyway, you guys got any cliches in gaming?
So, when you originally proposed this topic, I was confused on what exactly you meant by video game cliches, and I reversed it, and I was like, well, a game where, you know, like a Final Fantasy game where the character doesn't have amnesia. Or no, was it the other way around? Where the character does have amnesia. That's
they start with they don't have amnesia, and they actually know what the heck's going on.
Yeah. I think that would be nice.
Or they have one person in their party that doesn't have amnesia and just forgets to tell everyone that they all know each other. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the irony, of course, is the fact that I love Final Fantasy VIII, and every single one of the characters in that game has amnesia. At least all the characters in your party.
Because of the Guardian Force, because of the GFs.
Well, that and Ultimecia and, yeah. The orphanage and
just end it there.
Yeah.
Because that and Ultimecia and yeah, that's as much sense as that game makes.
Yeah, basically. I'm trying to think of like other cliches. I don't know, Evan. You got any?
Well, I was thinking about. This isn't the same thing. I was thinking about. It's not a cliche though, like a game mechanic that pops up in games, but that's kind of a different. So the Japanese the JRPG with the amnesia is probably the biggest one that popped up in my mind.
Right.
One thing I would like to see go away is, and I think this is just a Japanese way of how they present stories, is characters would basically turn to the camera and just like spout exposition instead of natural conversation. It just, I think it's just a common storytelling method in Japanese media.
Right.
But to me, it just comes off as lazy. Like I was watching a good example of just general exposition being woven into dialogue that makes it like the audience is learning something, but in a natural way by listening to the conversation and not having a character turn to the camera and say, okay, this is where we are, this is what's going on, these are the rules of the world, blah blah blah. I was watching The Dark Knight, and then movie opens up with the bank heist, and it's cutting between the bank robbers that have the masks on, and they're talking about the Joker.
Right.
And they're like, what's this guy's deal? What's with the face paint? Like, oh, they say it's war paint. It's used to scare people. So they're teaching you about the world without
soliloquy
in a natural way. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So and that's one thing that often happens in Japanese games where it's like, oh hey, it's like the joke of like Dragon Ball. It's like, oh, it's him, the guy who killed my brother, and I don't like him, so I'm out for revenge. It's like, we don't really need you to say that. We know what's going on. So that's one I would necessarily a cliche. I don't know. Does anyone else have everything?
I think another one for me would be the perfectly formed female bottom.
Okay.
Because there was thinking of one game which I don't know if Evan's played, but Matt, you and I have played Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
Right. Okay.
So the kind of supporting cast of that, there's the female fighter pilot.
Yeah.
And she, I can't remember her name, but she's quite a good character. But she's wearing fatigues the whole time because she's a fighter pilot. So it's actually gotten to the point now where when I played that game, it's like, oh, she's actually dressed appropriately for what she's doing. She hasn't got some skimpy outfit on that makes it look like she's got bottom implants.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, I'll not have you speak ill of my Amazon
skimpy outfits.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always just the tight fitting outfits.
Yeah, so
a
it's
lot of those games.
Dude, I noticed the things that people have said. Where if I'm going to be in third person game running around, I will look at something attractive. That's just really, if that's the only reason that you can think about doing it, there's nothing else that you can think of that is a kind of appropriate attire for someone other than kind of a figure hugging pair of jeans or whatever else they happen to be wearing.
Right.
Can we?
I mean,
There's a bit of that in Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
I was going to go a bit more PG in terms of every Mario game. You're chasing after Princess Peach, right? And trying to save her from Bowser. There's always the girlfriend or the love interest that gets taken away and you have to chase after her.
Oh, yeah, and Link's got to save Zelda.
Right, Link has to save Zelda. All of the Japanese series that River City Ransom is based on. I can't remember.
The Kunio-kun games, yeah.
Right, so those games, I think every single one of those games, it's like a girlfriend or a love interest or something is like taken away from you, and that's the basis of the entire game.
Well, yeah, like Double Dragon, the first thing that happens is bad guy punches a girl right in her stomach.
Right, takes her away.
Her over the shoulder.
That's it.
And then in
the
second one.
Go ahead.
The second one, he pulls out a gun and kills her. He like machine guns her to death and then walks away.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, that's Bubble Bobble. You transformed into dragons. You're the whole game is you're saving your girlfriend. It's like, did we need the context for Bubble Bobble? Like,
right.
That was on the recent Game Scoop episode.
It's kind of just a
puzzle
game.
Think about a game that turned that on its head was Braid, which I thought was a great scene in that game where it's like the last thing you do in the game. It the whole thing's based on time manipulation. You can rewind time,
right?
Fast forward time, and the princess is on the top screen. The whole thing is every time level, it's the joke. The princess is in another castle type of thing, and then at the end, she's in the top of the screen. You're on the bottom of the screen, and it looks like you're helping each other. Like she's opening doors, she's pressing switches to open doors for you and drop ladders down. And then when you get to the end where you're about to connect, you rewind time, and she's actually trying to escape from you. She's not opening the doors; she's actually closing the doors to try to get you away from her. So I thought that was a very clever way of turning that whole cliche on its head.
Yeah, totally.
I want to talk when this is over. I want to talk to you about the Matt. I've been playing it, by the way.
The Witness?
Yeah.
All right, okay. We can do that.
Yeah, the topic for next time, where the three of us are on, is the challenge that Evan threw down at our feet. Was why don't you finish games?
I think that was mainly directed at me because I never finish games. So
Have you finished Octopath yet?
no, I haven't. Come on, dude. I gave myself to the 20th. That's when I'm gonna have that game finished. I still got around 20 hours left. I'm probably 38, 40 in. So
Yeah, you got some time left. You got to grind.
yeah.
All right. Any other? That's a good one. The Princess. You know, the Prince, the tower guarded by video games. Any others?
Every single Yakuza game being a property.
Yeah, I can't really.
That's it. That's the end of the
Actually-
conversation right there. Just yeah. Okay.
Most of those games end with two men taking their shirts off and beating each other up on the top of a high-rise building. I have no complaints there though, so I'm quite happy if every game finished that way.
Was it raining?
Actually, every game does finish with men taking their shirts off and like
Beating
bare
the hell out
knuckles
of each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the rain?
I don't think there was ever one. There's a boat, high-rise building, in a bay in front of a boat. High-rise building, mostly high-rise buildings and boats are involved. Boats and high-rise buildings. That's the name of my. I'm sorry. Let's plow ahead here.
Shall we? It's been an hour, gentlemen. Shall we conclude the episode?
All right.
I think so.
I think it's been a good one too.
I think we're all excited for Star Wars.
Yes.
The movie and the game, and
Not so much the movies. I
Yeah,
haven't-
exactly. I was going to say exactly
what?
that.
What?
Not so much the movie.
No.
weird. You'd
my
rather
favourite.
play Star Wars than watch Star Wars.
My favourite of the recent Star Wars films was
Solo?
Rogue One.
No, really, Rogue One
Yeah.
sucked.
No.
Solo,
Really?
Solo has
Rogue
been
One's good.
Solo has been the best one out of all the new
No,
movies.
it wasn't. It was
Whoa,
awful.
Solo is the most mediocre of all the Star
Oh
Wars.
my god. Okay.
And that's saying mediocre even without Daisy Ridley's acting in it.
And on that note,
She,
gentlemen, it's been the Beerumverate, and we're out.
the Beerumverate.